So welcome back to Deakin Stadium for part 2 of finals football. It is the team that finished first against the team that finished fourth. It's Canberra, Croatia, 24 times league champions against Tigers FC. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Joining me as he did earlier this afternoon, Frank Keisha. Frank, this one's going to be a good one as well, but we're going to have to go some way to match what we've just seen.
Yeah, absolutely, Russ. I think we just all sort of catching our breath after that first game. And, look, consensus is down near the tunnels there was... I think mainly from Belconnen boys was one that got away.
And we did find out, though, that Jack Green rolled his ankle badly in the warm-up and played 90 minutes with a heavily strapped ankle. Now, didn't have an influence on the game, obviously, because it finished 2 apiece, but with Canberra, Croatia to come next week, their talismanic skipper, I mean, depending on how he pulls up and how bad that is, that could be a monumental loss for Marcel Munoz.
Oh, look, I think... Yeah, I mean, they've played him for a full 90. Jack's a bit of a warrior, he'll bounce back. He'll do everything he needs to do to get himself right and give himself every opportunity to play next week. But the fact that he managed to get through that 90 minutes says a lot about, the fortitude of the guy. And I guess maybe one of the things that we noticed was that, when Melik was getting down that right-hand side, he probably had the better of Green for a few periods of time that normally he mightn't have. Some
tired and battered bodies we saw there. Turning our attention to this one then, let's have a look at the lineups. Canberra, Croatia, unchanged from the side that drew 1-1 with Tuggeranong United here, thanks to Ryan Keir's stoppage time equaliser. Sam Brown in goal, a back four of Jordan Lamb and Ivan Pavlak, who announced his retirement from football this week. This will be his last season for Canberra, Croatia. Either side of Daniel Subasic and Matt Grbesha. Then we've got almost the 2-2-2, Nico Oider and Ryan Keir, Daniel Cobaltaldo and Emilio Kishta, Daniel Barac and Jason Ugrinich. We'd expect it to be very fluid.
Yeah, and like we said, Russ, stability is a big bonus in this competition this year, even though it is a shortened season. The fact that you can get the same 11 players out there week in, week out makes a big difference.
A stacked bench. Michael Pocci, Marko Vrkic, Nick Bobolas, Daniel Subasic and Dom Gianpaolo. So big names on the bench for Canberra, Croatia. Tigers FC make one change from the side that were beaten by Belconnen United last week, Frank. And it's an attacking one. Alex Olarubi comes in for Lawrence Redmond as they go with 3 up front, judging by what we've been given on paper. Tigers FC's lineup, Jacob Cole in goal, back four of Mariano Canavesio, Christian Juna with Nathan Medjek dropping in alongside Tony Perseski, Goran Jozowski in the holding role, Julian Bourne, Michael Kitta in front of him. The front three, Alex Olarubi, Mark Shields, Hussein Farej, and you called that on the podcast in the week with Nathan Medjek perhaps dropping in as centre-back.
Yeah, I mean, I know Nathan prefers to play in midfield, but, in these sort of games, you won't find too many better centre-backs going around in the competition who will just, put his body on the line, win pretty much every header, and really drive his team forward from the back.
Very young-looking bench for Tigers FC. Gabe Cole, Lawrence Redmond, Martin Crowe, Marcus Godzich and Daniel Grove. Rocco Stricker obviously not here, Jared Tonini not here either. So, very young bench for Tigers FC. Will that have some impact on Ryan Grogan's plans?
I think so. I think, basically looking at the side that Ryan's got out there, he'll be looking to hopefully take a lead and see if he can hold on to it, because even the bench that he's got, we've got Cole that is defensive, we've got Redmond who's obviously a centre-back, so it doesn't leave him too many sort of options off the bench to chase a game.
Well, Daniel Grove hasn't made a debut for the Tigers in first grade. Marcus Godzic twice off the bench. Martin Crowe in 11 games, one this season off the bench. Gabe Cole 7 games, all of them this season. Lawrence Redmond, the most experienced player on the bench with 23 appearances. Compare that to the ton of talent on the Croatia bench. Marko Vrkic 72 games, Nick Bobolas 112, Dom Gianpaolo 170, and Michael Pocci 19. It's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, and again, it's interesting that Dean's gone with the bench that he does, because a lot of those guys are quite defensive. You got Dom Gianpaolo who can play a bit more advanced, but Pocci, Bobolas and Vrkic are more seen in that sort of defensive half of the field.
Told by Marko Vrkic Sr. that we should be calling him Marko Vrkic Jr. because I'm not sure they're going to get them confused. Referee Alex McConaughey, Adam Powers and Blake Baldwin, the assistants. Alex Olarubi back in the starting lineup. 108 Premier League goals, and he's got a few at this venue as well.
Yes, he's a bit like Felipe Bernardo Madrid, who graced the field for the Reds for a number of seasons and was prolific in his goal scoring here.
Will he have a say on this one? Generally, when he plays, something happens.
You'd hope so.
He very rarely has a quiet match, one way or the other, Alex Ollerigby. So, Frank, where's this one going to be won and lost?
Look, I think the stability of Canberra, Croatia goes a long way into tipping the game their way. They've shown a lot, but I mean it's a final series, and I was actually just talking to Rocco Stricker before the game, and he goes, "There's always an opportunity for an upset, and how often do you see it? You see a side who are probably well fancied go under in an upset. Just circumstances just dictate that way."
Got a 12-game unbeaten run in the regular season, Canberra, Croatia. Last loss came in round 13, 2019 to Belconnen, 37 goals for, 12 against in that spell. By contrast, Tigers FC haven't scored a goal in 205 minutes of football and have only scored once in 6 games in all competitions at the end of the 2019 competition. So their lack of goals last year and their lack of goals over the last 205 minutes as well. Is that a concern?
Yeah, it is. And this is the other thing that we sort of noticed last week when they were playing Belconnen, is there wasn't a real spark in that Tigers forward line. Mark Shields is tireless, but maybe Ollerigby coming back in is that little bit of spark that they do need.
We said Ollerigby likes this venue. Tigers FC don't like this venue. On their last 3 visits to Deakin to play Canberra, Croatia, they have conceded 11 goals. And if you count in the grand final here, last year where they shipped 5 against Carlin United as well, it is quite horrendous defensively.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is, Hussein Farid has come from pretty much nowhere to starting this final series.
Well, we'll see if he has an impact on this one. Tigers in the yellow, looking to break that goal drought, and they're going to need to. It's fair to say that Canberra, Croatia haven't exactly set the world alight this season in terms of their performances, but they keep on winning.
Yeah, I think a lot of coaches in this competition would love to have not settled the world alight and finished undefeated. And 6 wins and 1 draw? Well,
it's 17 goals this season, 5 wins and 2 draws. 17 goals this season, 6 of which have come after the 84th minute.
So you're saying that we can just relax for the next 85 minutes?
Well, unless they get 11 before that. In which case we'll have a hell of a game.
And interesting, isn't it, Russ, that you mentioned that Ivan Pavlak, this is his last season. What a great career he's had. Not only locally, he was one of the players that's gone and played NPL in Victoria, and obviously backed himself to go and make his way in the game outside of Canberra.
Well over 200 games for the club, 174 NPL, plenty of trophies in his cabinet. He'll be looking to start the final series with a win today. Here's Ryan Keir in midfield. Lamb's ball forwards. Oida helps it on its way. Back to Matt Gerbischer. Skipper's armband on. As usual, Barac finds Pavlak. First chance for him in an attacking sense. Spaseski gets rid of it. I come up with one stat a week that you like, Frank. Here's one for you. I'll tell you in just a second as Lamb slips. A recognised striker hasn't scored for Canberra, Croatia against the Tigers in the last 4 matches, as Ugrinic tries to change that straight away. So the last 4 games they played against Tigers, they've scored 6 times, Kishta with 3, Oida, Waters and Keir. Last strikers to score for Canberra, Croatia against the Tigers was in 2018. Thomas James and a brace for Kofi Danning in a 5-0 win in the preliminary final.
Oh, there you go. That's not bad, Russ. I'll give you that.
Just goes to show, though, that the threats come from all around the park in this Canberra-Croatia lineup.
It might also say a fair bit about the ability of the Tigers' midfield to track. If their midfielders are getting forward the way they do and getting on the end of things or scoring goals, then there's probably something to be said there, Russ.
Canavesio, the Argentinian, still with the thumb strapped where he broke it earlier in the year. Jozefovski finds Canavesio. Chance here to swing this in the penalty area. It's going to find its way to Borgner on the far post. Not shy of a shot, and he will try one from this angle. It's taken a deflection. Chance for Canavesio. Couldn't get a stud on it. With the flag have gone up, maybe it would have. The decision is...
It's definitely a corner.
Corner. Yeah. Got a touch, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that was a chance for Canavesio.
Big chance. And to be honest, it was a great little run by him to get in behind Pavlak after Borgner took the shot. I don't think anyone sort of saw that coming as far as the run goes. I mean, everyone saw the Borgner shot coming.
And here is Julian Borgner. Started off the season with goals in successive matches, 2 against Tuggeranong, 1 against the Panthers. Hasn't found the net since. Been tasked with the free kick at the corner here. Has picked up a yellow card and a red card this season, Julian Borgner. Busy 7 matches for him. Swings it into that near post. Kishta got a touch. He has fond memories of the Tigers, of course, bagging that hat-trick down at Nijong. Kolbataldo, one's Barach, Ugrinich, Oida, Kia, Kolbataldo.
Yeah, nicely
play. Worked. Verkic. He's been on the score sheet himself as well this year with a cracking effort against Woden Western. Kolbataldo. Chance for him to drive forward and hit one goal. It's good effort too, and it's a brilliant finish from Daniel Kolbataldo. Saves it for the big occasion again, and Canberra, Croatia in front early.
What a goal there, Daniel Kolbataldo. He struck that from well outside the box with his left foot. It was always heading top corner. Jacob Cole always struggling to get there. Managed to get a hand to it, in off the post. What a start, Canberra, Croatia.
Just at the start that Dean Ugrinich would have wanted, and just like in the Tiger Gunners versus Belconnen game, we have a goal inside 5 minutes. Yeah,
absolutely top shelf there from Daniel Kolbataldo, one of the best players in the competition. We all know that. I don't know, do you say he's a recognised striker now, Russ? Or he'd probably argue that he could.
20 goals in 125 NPL appearances for Kolbataldo.
And what does that do to the Ryan Grogan plan? We wonder now, Russ.
They've got to get that monkey off the back that Woden had earlier in the season about finding a goal.
Well, they nearly did at the other end. It wasn't far off being 1-0 Tigers.
Just like down in Nijong, we have a very early goal. Then it was Nika Oida from the penalty spots in 3 minutes. The tone is set, hopefully, for a goal-laden afternoon.
And like Nijong, a goal from outside the box.
Yeah, another specky. Kishta got a couple of long ranges in that one. No Sam Whittier today. Pulled his groin in the week. So he's been rested rather than risked for this one. He scored an absolute worldie in that, didn't he?
He did. As good as Kiss's goals were, I thought Woody's was the pick of the bunch.
Magic. Pass is picked off. Barach can bring it away. Is that a finals haircut, Nathan Magic? Canavesio's header, only as far as Kolbataldo. Little nutmeg on Kitter and fights Oider into the attack, and Jordan Lamb as the red shirts go flooding forward again, and he might try one from range. 6 up in that attack. Very open field early on. Last season these sides played 3 times and there was not a lot in any game. It was 1-1 here. Ryan Keir equalising Husfer Edge's goal for the Tigers. Then they played in the Federation Cup final, which was a 0-0 draw, Tigers winning on penalties, and then at Nijong, Matt Waters' goal after 28 minutes was the difference. So not much between them last year.
No, but 2 very different sides this year too, Russ. The Gabby Wilk Tigers is very different to the Ryan Grogan Tigers, and to be honest, the Dean Ugrinich version of Canberra, Croatia is different from the 2019 version.
Is there a response from the Tigers for Rej? Swings it into the air. Shields was lurking, and that's an important header from Gudabisha because Mark Shields was on hand to nod that in.
That was a great ball too.
You were impressed with him last week, weren't you, against Belconnen? Husfaresh came back into the side and made a big difference.
Yeah, for someone who hadn't played all season, and we're not going to talk about eligibility, are we? So, for someone who hasn't played all season, I thought he made a great impact last week, and he started off well now.
Taking up a position on the near post, the ball went towards him. Ugrinich's header, Kishta him back into the danger area. Magic swung a boot at it. Kolbataldo tries to prod it clear. Junna returns it straight down the throat of Sam Brown. Can't argue about goals on Bar TV this afternoon, can we? 4 in the last game, 1 here already. Verkic at the back. It's a toss-up between him and Daniel Subasic today, and it's nice to have that option, isn't it? Nick Bobolas waiting in the wings. We might see his Canberra, Croatia debut this afternoon.
Yeah, I was going to make mention about that. It's must be a big decision for Dean every week who to miss out.
puts the pressure on the players to perform, doesn't it? Oida, who has done exactly that this season.
Oh, look, to be honest, I think Russ, he's probably my pick of player of the year. Nikola Oida. I think he's been instrumental with what Canberra Croatia managed to do this season.
Spaseski finds Juna and gets it back again. Ball forward towards Shields. Juna ranging from fullback. Not much ahead of him at the moment. Tries to squeeze it through Ryan Keir.
Talking about finals hairdos.
He's gone for the Predator look, has he?
I've never had that problem, Ross.
Nice to have too much hair.
Not for 20 odd years anyway.
Alex McConaughey gives the free kick. We mentioned that 2-2 draw earlier. A win today for either of these sides would give them a real stranglehold on this top spot, even after one round in such a short final series. Everyone plays each other once. Balac. Pavlak outside him. Kishta's gone short. Kitta was there to help out. Jozefowski finds Borgner. Tight in the middle of the park, and they've turned this one over to Balac, who's invited Pavlak to stretch his legs and take on Kitta, and the delivery, just a bit too much heat on that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if a team does lose two of its first two games, how they front up for that third game, because it's got to be demoralising to front up, and unless you're still on the hunt, I guess, but you're probably relying a lot on other results to do that, to manage to make a final with 3 points. But this is a real opportunity for either one of these teams to really kick on and give themselves a nice little buffer at the top of the table after the 2-2 draw in the first game.
Yeah, almost becomes, every match becomes a must-win. Could be huge for Gungahlin United. Let's say this stays the way it does, Frank, and Croatia get the 3 points, and Belconnen play Tigers next week, and if they can get 3 points there, all of a sudden Gungahlin have to beat Canberra Croatia, you'd think, and that is huge.
Yep, it will be. Look, it's not terminal. Let's be honest, but it does make it very difficult for them to get a stranglehold on that top two spot.
The Tigers have got plenty of time to change everything, of course. Colbertaldo, whose goal separates the teams, and he's found Oida in a bit of space. He's tried to get Spaseski to come out of defence, who's done really well there, Tony.
Important challenge there, very well won.
Canavesio. Runner is Alex Olorigby, and he's got him behind here, Olorigby. Can he pick out a cross? It just couldn't get the legs to get there.
He seemed to have thought he made it easy and was looking up at who he was picking out. At the same time that was happening, the ball was rolling out.
Doesn't have the excuse of not knowing this field either, does he, Alex Olorigby?
Yeah, he's obviously slowed down a lot, but I mean that's understandable. He's when he was playing for Canberra FC or Canberra Deakin back in the day, we're probably talking near on 10 years ago, I reckon, Ross.
It's been a fair old while, hasn't it?
He spent a lot of time at Tigers.
Spell at Tuggeranong United as well, didn't he?
He started off a few times at Monero, I think, but never.
Was there pre-season?
And he was at Wyden last year as well. Yep. So yeah, he had a few clubs in between.
Verkic at the back. Colbertaldo drifts around this park and seems to go wherever the fancy takes him. Ryan Keir. Kishta. Keir. Pavlak. A little bit loose in possession. Here's Jozefowski. Talk about players that have played matches. Jozefowski well over 300 now in NPL, and that's a bit lax from Ivan Pavlak. And here's a chance for Olorigby. Gerbischer comes sliding across. Olorigby just steps inside. Borgner just took his eye off the ball there. A let off for Canberra Croatia. Matt Gerbischer just commits to those challenges, doesn't he?
And doesn't get booked.
I didn't get anywhere near him on that occasion.
No, that's fine.
Heavy hit on Luca Flores here a couple of weeks back in that game that Canberra Croatia won 3-2. His first game back from injury. Barac. Lamb. Colbertaldo allowed to turn and then tried to pick out Jason Ugrinich. Strange little atmosphere with not many people in the ground. Obviously the atmosphere, the capacity limited today. Capital Football running the event. Strange that we can only have 200 in here for finals, and we seem to have more in that for league games, didn't we? I think the COVID safe plan was for 300 for league matches. Obviously with 4 teams to, or 8 teams I guess, 4 different games. Kishta lining up from distance. We know he can belt it. Here's Borgner on the break for Tigers. Chance for them to bring it forward. Farej swings it in towards Shields, who gets a touch up back towards where Borgner was lurking. Verkic nods it away. Jozefowski battles on the edge of the area. Comes for Canavesio. Might try his luck across goal. Gerbischer with the knee. And now Keir can switch the point of attack to find Jason Ugrinich. And Jacob Cole's come a long way. And he got there.
Having nightmares of last year's grand final. I think.
Thinking exactly the same thing. It was almost a flashback, wasn't it, when he got sent off?
Canavesio has probably been the most likely for Tigers to get on the score sheet. That last shot was well on target. It was definitely heading on target until it was blocked, and great release there from Ryan Keir to try to pick out Jason Ugrinich.
Well, Tigers have responded quite well to going behind. The boys from Kuma. Colbertaldo switched Canavesio in a more accustomed defensive role. Borgner stretching the legs, but Keir beats him to it. Ugrinich, Kishta, nicely done. Credited a bit of space here for Jason Ugrinich to look up and swing that left footer into the area. Good header clear from Spaseski as Colbertaldo tried to sneak in behind.
It's an interesting problem the coaches need to sort out when they play Canberra, Croatia. Because they don't play an out-and-out striker, they've got Ugrinich on one side and Barrett on the other. You've almost got 2 centre-backs that aren't marking anyone, unless they actually push into that sort of midfield and pick up a Colbertaldo or a Kistas.
Keita sends it wide to Canavesio, and he tries his luck again. And Gerbischer blocks again. Borgner. Ugrinich back to defend. Like you said, Canavesio getting involved as an attacking threat.
Yeah, well, that's 3 times he's gotten forward and looked dangerous every time he's gotten up there.
The Argentinian with the throw-in. Borgner's the only option. He's dug that one out, and Shields challenged with Brown. It was less than convincing from the Canberra Croatia shot stopper. Did enough though.
Yeah, he's quite a big presence up there, Mark Shields. And he's been doing it for a number of years.
Sam Brown saved a penalty last week, of course, on this venue from Andrew Slavic.
He seemed pretty happy that I called it before he did it too.
It was. You did mention his record from the spot. Croatia worked that out nicely. Little angles of passes, excellent, and Colbertaldo keeps the move going. And then Juna stops it from developing any further. Could bring it forward, Christian Juna. Jozefowski. Speaking of penalties, Canberra Croatia have been awarded 5 in 7 matches this season. Scored 4 and missed 1. That's quite a record. The Manchester United of the NPL, maybe.
I love it.
A lot of penalties, isn't it? I mean, when you've got attacking players of that ilk.
Yeah, obviously you need to be in the box to get those penalties, and they attack as well as anyone in the competition.
Yeah, 5 in 7. It's quite a record. Dom Gianpaolo's netted a couple. Emilio Kishta's netted 1. So has Nico Oida, who's missed the only one. Hit the post against Woden Western. Interesting to see who does line up if they get one today. It's interesting that Kishta was given the opportunity in stoppage time here against Belconnen to level the scores with all the players that they have on the park.
Was Gianpaolo on when that happened?
No, he wasn't.
No, okay. That would be the interesting one for me, is whether if Dom was on, whether Kistas would still take it.
Oida. Lamb. Oida again. He always seems to find himself in space, Nico Oida, mark of a good player. Pavlak. Looks for Colbertaldo. A bit loose in possession, and Borgner can bring it away. There's not much ahead of him, though.
But this is where the way Canberra Croatia have set up and the way Tigers are set up, that the overload in midfield is always going to happen, because you've basically got 4 against 3, unless one of those centre backs pushes in.
Or just giving it away to Jozefowski, who in turn coughs up possession of Pavlak. Kishta thought Ugrinik was going. Ugrinik wanted it short.
It wasn't a bad ball, though. You can hear the instructions being belted out there from Matty Gurusera around keeping the ball. Has got a bit untidy in both teams.
Yeah, since the early goal. Not quite got the same flow to it as the Belconnen Gunners game had a little earlier. If you just tuned in and you missed that, finished 2 apiece. But that didn't tell the story of a game in which there was plenty of chances, and most of them coming to Belconnen. Jozefowski with the free kick. Pavlak wins the header. Canavesio brings it under control. Taking on Ugrinik. Kita. Back to Magic. 2 matches tomorrow in the bottom 4 final series as it gets underway. Canberra Olympic versus Woden Western at 1:30 on Bar TV Sports, and then Tuggeranong United v Monero Panthers to round off a big weekend in the men's NPL. All 8 teams in action. Looking forward to see the attitude of the players tomorrow. Maybe we're going to see a couple of really open games. Not a lot on it apart from pride, is there? So.
No, and I something that you said to me after that first game, Russ. We've got 2 of the form teams in that bottom 4 in Tuggeranong and Woden. There's not many teams that have won twice consecutively, and that's Woden. And Tuggeranong on the back of 4 or 5 games unbeaten.
5-game unbeaten run there. And with no pressure on those sides, maybe we will see a nice couple of open games of football. New concept, so we'll see what the coaches do tomorrow and how the players approach it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that, just around how players react when they go, they do go 1-0 down or 2-0 down, and hopefully it doesn't degenerate into something that that no one wants to see as a spectacle. Hopefully there's good attacking play and it's played in good spirits, and it's a good advertisement for the game, hopefully.
Yeah, and how that develops over the next 3 weeks will be interesting as well, won't it? Once it becomes apparent that you can't make the bottom 4 finals. But that's for a bit later. Here we are with Borgner from distance. It's not threatening Sam Brown, but why not from there, from Julian Borgner?
Yeah, and that's good from Tigers. I think that's something they probably lacked last week. They didn't really fire a shot in anger at all until the very last couple of minutes against Belconnen last week. Whether or not that's down to Belconnen's structure and they're great defending, but even so, they've taken an opportunity to take a strike on, have a shot on target there, and well done.
Farej battling away, trying to get away from Kishta, and he's done so, but runs into the brick wall that is Matty Gerbischer. Kita seemed to have won the ball from Kishta, but the free kick has been given by Alex McConaughey. He was right on the spot.
And this is where Canberra Croatia just don't want to be lulled into a sort of false sense of security here as well, Russ. They don't want to just think that this game's over because they're 1-0 up.
Voidas found Barac in behind briefly. Plenty of yellow shirts back. Barac twisting and turning, looking to get away from Junna. He gets a foot in. Still going, Barac, looking to win the throw, and he does exactly that. Again, the tempo not quite what we would think it would be. Very similar to the Gungahlin-Belconnen game in that tempo. You mentioned it was a bit of a strange one in terms of the lethargy shown by some of the players.
Yeah, and that might just be down to the atmosphere as well, Russ. It's so quiet out here,
Yeah, no noise at all. Usually there'd be a fair bit of noise from the Canberra Croatia locals. That even Bulham stand, of course, would be fairly rammed for final series football.
Oh, and you've seen Tigers in finals before, they generally have a decent crowd and decent following. Maybe we're doing too good a job on the commentary and everyone's staying at home.
Well, there's 2 more rounds of this to go, so hopefully we can have a few crowds. Obviously, like I said, it's limited, the amount of people allowed in the door. And each club is only given a handful of tickets. That's helped on its way to Colbertaldo in the penalty area here. He wants a penalty, or a high foot at least.
Just want to sit for Colbertaldo. He might have even thought about hitting that first time on the volley.
Ugrinic. Colbertaldo stretching, not going to get that. Borgner can bring it away. Ala Rigby, who switched wings with Farage up against Jordan Lamb. Has to hold it up because Lamb shuttered him nicely. Spaseski.
And that might be an opportunity now for Canberra, Croatia to attack down that right-hand side with Jordan Lamb, see if Alex is willing to chase back.
Canavesio. Kitta. Just stretches the legs, off he goes and looks for Farage in behind him, but the flag is up for offside. Quite like seeing Michael Kitta when he makes that striding runs into midfield. He's very hard to stop, isn't he, when he gets into stride?
I rate him highly. I always have. He's always one of the players that when I was coaching against Tigers was one of the players I sort of made sure that we kept some tabs on. He's a very elegant, sort of easy on the eye type player. You know, he just seems to glide past players.
Started 4 games this season, come off the bench 3 others. Does his versatility count against him in some respects, that he doesn't seem to be able to nail down a regular position in the side? We'll come back to that thought in a minute. It's Shields for the Tigers. Lays off to Borgner. Juna's outside him. Plenty up here for Tigers. If Juna can pick someone out, Verkic gets a touch on it. Kishta nods it away. Colbertaldo's got there, and that was an important touch from Spaseski as Barac was peeling away. Jozefowski gets a foot in. Putting the pressure on here, Tigers FC. Borgner lining one up from range, thought about it and couldn't get it under control, and then fouls Matt Gerbischer, who's not happy with that, and there's a little bit of a coming together there, and there's a head out there for Borgner. This is a bit silly. There's a card coming out. I wonder what colour this will be. It's red. Julian Borgner is going to be sent off here for Tigers FC. It is a calamity as far as they're concerned, and Matt Gerbischer involved on his return to the starting lineup. Tigers down to 10.
Well, any hopes of Tigers getting back into this game have taken a severe blow right there.
Second time this season that Borgner's seen red, and it was all so avoidable. I'm sort of a bit lost for words, Russ. You're looking at me wondering what I'm going to say. I don't really have much to say. Obviously, he's reacted to... Matty Gubris has reacted to a tackle where Borgner's held him back. There's obviously been something said or pushed or shoved after that, and then the net result is Borgner putting his head in Matty Gubris' face, and we're seeing red, and Tigers are down to 10. Is Gerbischer fortunate to not see a yellow for his part in that?
Possibly, but look, I'm not going to smash Julian Borgner, but you'd hope to see a better or a more mature reaction to what's just happened. There was only ever going to be one result there.
Well, Ryan Grogan, whatever his plans were in this first half, have taken a battering. Borgner's out, sent off. He's going to miss the next couple of weeks as well, at least. You think that might be his final series done, unless they get to the grand final. Probably a 3-match ban for that, you'd think.
Well, straight red generally means 3 matches.
And they're 1-0 down. I was talking about Michael Kitta's versatility up to that point, and well, he's going to have to be more versatile now,
isn't he? He's going to have to play 2 positions at once now.
Colbertaldo, Lamb, Barac offside.
And the disappointing thing there for Tigers, apart from obviously the ill discipline, was Borgner was actually getting into that game and actually starting to create things and getting on the ball, and he'd received a couple of balls in good positions now, and that's gone.
Formerly off Canberra FC, of course, Julian Borgner as well. He'll be disappointed with himself more than anything, I think. Here's Canavesio. So big questions of Tigers FC now. On that goal drought, of course, up against a team that won the league title. Just to answer the question though for Kitta, do you think his versatility does count against him in some respects?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think any coach would love to have a player that is accomplished in a couple of positions. To me, I still think he's just a midfielder. I've seen him play right back, but I'm not in the position where I've been privy to the conversations that's been had or who's available and who isn't. But to me, he's a midfielder out and out, and that's where I'll be playing him all the time.
Well, here he is in midfield, showing his strength. With a pirouette to get away as well, looking for Ola Rigby. Kitta finds Jozefowski. Tigers have the bit between the teeth. Jozefowski, Rigby ahead of him. Jozefowski looked to swing that in, and that was a good header from Godzich because Shields had got away from his marker.
And it's disappointing for people like Shields and Jozefowski to see the side go down to 10. You know, they're players that play with a lot of pride, and they've seen it all and they've done it all before. I'm actually disappointed for them.
Well, they're going to need to stand up now, aren't they? Both of them, and Kidder and everybody else in gold. If the Tigers are to rescue something from this. Junna had a strong start to the game as well, wins himself a free kick. First things first, try to get back on terms. They've got 16 minutes left in the first half to do so. We haven't seen Canberra Croatia create a huge amount of chances, have we, apart from the goal that they've scored, which came out of the blue.
Yeah, and they've probably just sort of sat a little bit in the little one too that Cobaltallo nearly got on the end of. But even the goal itself, it wasn't like a chance. It was a beautiful strike from outside the box.
Pavlak finds Kishta. Back to Pavlak. Now Ryan Keir, and these little triangles which Canberra Croatia love to play are going to make it very difficult for the Tigers. They'll be chasing a lot of ball to conserve some energy. Godzich finds Velkic. Jordan Lamb, space for him. Barach, Lamb on the overlap. Junna back with him, and that's a free kick to the Tigers. It's hard enough with 11 when they're knocking the ball around like this at Canberra Croatia, isn't it? So with 10, it's a thankless task.
Yeah, and we don't want to harp on the red card, but it's a bit of a coach killer and a bit of a real energy killer and sapper for the rest of the side as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Especially considering you didn't feel like there was no lead up to it, was there? It wasn't like the game was getting feisty or anything like that.
Well, that's the other thing. He knew he'd give away the free kick, just walk away.
It is what it is, though. It's happened, and 15 minutes left of the first half. The home side leading, thanks to Daniel Cobaltallo's 4th minute spectacular strike in off the post. Ryan Keir finds Godzich. Oidet. Keir. Raking ball for Pavlak. Swings it into the penalty area, and Cole needs to come and collect under pressure, and does. One of the taller goalkeepers in the competition. Keir's got a foot in to stop Jozefowski's forward progress. Cobaltallo finds Kishta. Jozefowski into the challenge with Keir. He's come off with the ball here. Jozefowski, Ryan Keir got caught on the ankle with the challenge as well, and Tigers can flood some men forward. Junna bursting in field, still going Christian Junna. That deflection should make it easy as Velkic tidies up.
Very industrious run there from Christian Junna getting forward, and they're going to need it because they can't just sit.
Well, Kishta's found Barach in behind it. Here's Daniel Barach, shoots a goal, and Cole makes a save, and Canavesio tidies up, and you get the feeling that on the break there may be gaps appearing even this early. Oider finds Barach, looks in the middle. He's only got Cobaltallo. He's picked out Oider's run. He's got past the defender here just briefly. Good run that from Nico Oider.
Yeah, and they're the sort of runs that, from deep in midfield that are really hard to defend against. Be interested to see what Ryan does in the second half, whether he decides to either drop players behind the ball or whether he actually employs a 3 at the back formation with Spaseski, Junna and Magic, or unless he throws Magic in the midfield. It does open you up, but 1-0 doesn't do them any favours either.
Shields, long way from goal. 3 of their last 4 games have ended goalless for the Tigers. In amongst that, though, was a 4-1 win over Canberra Olympic. Really have seen the Jekyll and Hyde of the Tigers over the last couple of weeks. And Colbertado stolen in behind here, and the flag went up, and it must have been very, very close against Daniel Colbertado on that occasion.
Yeah, it must have been close. Might have a word to him just for finishing off that movement.
You were at that Canberra Olympic game.
You're going to put me on the spot, aren't you?
Well, the question I was going to ask you, considering that the Tigers have lost 1-0 to Gungahlin, 1-0 to Woden and 2-0 to Belcon on either side of that 4-1 win, does that say more about the Tigers or about Olympic? We'll come back to that as Ola Rigby into the penalty. A real chance here for Farej. Can he go on? He's missed the target. Shields wanted to cut back as well, but there's a chance for the Tigers.
That's a huge chance for the Tigers. Do you really want me to answer that?
Well, the question I meant to ask was, was that Tigers on a good day?
Yeah, I think a bit of both, to be honest. I think it's Tigers on a good day and Olympic on a poor one. Again, I think discipline had a lot to do with that. Olympic have lost 2 players in the sin bin at vital times in that game, given away a penalty, nowhere near their best. So, look, but they obviously, Tigers are obviously on the game. Really put Olympic under a lot of pressure and got a great result. Putting
Canberra Croatia under pressure here with Ola Rigby coming into the game a little bit here, the Tigers. Junna. Jozefowski. Well, we know they won't give up. They will keep battling. Lamb finds Oida.
Ola Rigby's down.
He's down on the edge of the penalty area. Canberra Croatia continue their attack with Ugrinic at the other end. Colbertaldo. Oida square. Lamb further out from him. Chance for Jordan Lamb maybe to load something into the penalty area. Numbers in the box. Barach with the header coming together. And the upshot was a goal kick.
Pretty hefty challenge in the box there too, Ross. I don't know what...
From Magic?
Yeah, it looked like it. It looked like it was pretty robust.
Well, Ola Rigby's still down out of picture to the right on the edge of the box. He's got himself up now and gingerly kind of... Not in the best of shape, is he?
No, he's definitely carrying a knock there.
Well, credit to Tigers. Since they've gone down to 10, they have given it as good as they've got and had a glorious chance to equalise through Farej.
Yeah, and that's going to give the boys a bit of hope at half-time. Well, I mean, we're still 9 minutes away. There's a long way to go before half-time. That'll give them a bit of hope before half-time, but it'll also probably frustrate them a bit to think that, 11 against 11, they were still in with a very big shout.
Magic at the back for the Tigers. Looking for an option. Can't find one. Clips it forward to Shields. Tried something clever and apologises to the runners around him. Didn't come off.
I think he's just over on that pass there from Nathan Magic, and it's gone behind him, so didn't have many options.
Good ball that from Kier to Ugrinic. Kishta. Ugrinic again. It's a bit loose. Shields slides in to win it and then comes away with the ball. We've seen that over the years, and he can advance forward. Ola Rigby with him. Ghosts past Verkic. He's got Jozefowski outside him. Gerbischer was in there with a challenge, and that is a free kick. And this will be a card for Matt Gerbischer.
I don't think I've ever seen a striker slide tackle as much as Mark Shields in all my life.
I used to play with him in futsal, and he used to do it all the time.
In futsal?
In futsal. Oh. Can imagine how annoying that was for the opposition. Goran Jozefowski lining up this free kick.
You can sense a bit of frustration coming into the Canberra Croatia play. Matty Gerbischer is really, laying down the law to some of his players around, their intent to get back and defend, when they need to.
Well, Jozefowski placed it, but there's only going to be one man that takes this. Mark Shields, 135 NPL goals for him, and it is a real chance from the set piece. Can he pull something out of the top drawer? It's Shields up and over the wall. It was a good effort, Sue, and a good save from Sam Brown.
It's a very good save there from Sam Brown. A very good free kick from Mark Shields. And that's a warning sign there. It's to Canberra Croatia that they need to be on their game and can't just think that this is just going to go through the motions to record a 1-0 win. They really need to get themselves about.
Farej flings it in. Canavesio couldn't judge the bounce. Oida can bring it away. Kolbatelli, numbers in the attack here. This is a real chance for Canberra, Croatia. Kishta ahead of him, and Kolbatelli for once has completely butchered that ball because Godzich and Kishta were in oceans of space.
There's a 3-on-1 there. Daniel's hit that with his left foot. I haven't hit it. And well done to Jacob Cole to be on the edge of his box to make sure that as soon as he overhit it, there's only ever going to be one winner.
Very uncharacteristic of Kolbatelli to rush that as well. He's usually quite calm in those situations and picks the correct pass.
Well, he'd done everything right until there. He turned Spasevski and created the overlap.
Shields brings Kitta into it, and he's found Canavesio, who's found some space. Chance for him to run at Godzich, who's on a yellow now for the rest of the game. And the way he thunders into challenges, he has to be careful as well, I guess.
Well, maybe that's something that they can target a little bit and speak about at halftime. Is can they isolate Matty one-on-one and see if they can draw him into a false challenge?
Well, perhaps a set piece with 10 men is the way to go for Tigers FC. Ferej with this one, plenty committed to this attack. Spasevski's joined in from the back. That's swung in towards Jozefowski. The header on the far post was from Shields, who couldn't keep it down. It came on to him very quickly.
Yeah, as soon as he got the flick on, even though it was from a Canberra Croatia head, it just gathered pace. But Mark Shields will be ruining that miss, I think. He's you give him that chance 9 times out of 10, I reckon you probably 1-1.
Signs of life in this Tigers FC side.
No, there's definitely signs of life for us, and I think that's been coming for a while.
Pavlak looking to restore Canberra FC, Canberra Croatia. There's a coffee for you. Superiority.
Finally.
Canavesio off of Greenwich.
Next goal's the key, isn't it? If Tigers can pull it back to 1-1, they're going to believe that they can get something out of it and see if they can either win or get a point. But if it goes to 2-0, then it makes it very, very difficult for Tigers, and the chances, the likelihood is that there'll be more opportunities for Canberra Croatia to go further ahead.
Well, as disappointed as Ryan Grogan would be to be down to 10, I think he'll be very happy with the response to his side to that adversity. They've certainly taken it on the chin and got on with it. Here's Magic. Kitta. And they look a different side when they can bring Shields into the game, don't they?
Yeah, we said that last week, I think, Ross. We hardly saw him touch a ball last week.
Well, they're giving it away here. Kolbatelli to Kishta. Spasevski steps in and drives forward and continued his run. Shields. Spasevski wants it back. Godzich steps in. And now he can find Greenwich in a bit of space to run at Canavesio. Kishta in support. Godzich arriving on the far post. Oida coming to their top of the box, but Spasevski making a 60-yard run dash back to help out. Ola Rigby opening up. Nice flow to it in the shadows of the end of the first half. 4 minutes left on Bar TV Sports, live finals football from the nation's capital. Canberra, Croatia 1 at Tigers FC 0. Daniel Kolbatelli's goal seems a long time ago now, Frank.
Yeah. Well, there's such an early strike to be hitting something top corner, Russ. Yeah. Look, I think the key to this game is going to be in the last 15 minutes, because obviously Tigers are going to be down to 10, and they've been down to 10 for a long, long time. Whether fatigue sets in those last 15 minutes, and you know how important, and we know how good Canberra Croatia have been in the last sort of 10 minutes of games. So
I was at Nijong Oval earlier in the year when Nico Oida's penalty in the 3rd minute gave Canberra Croatia the lead, and it looked comfortable until Tigers equalised right on half-time for that flurry of 2 goals in a minute. Kishta pulling one out of the top drawer to give his side a 2-1 at half-time advantage. I just wonder whether something like that might happen at the end of this half. Canavesio was the throw. Spasevski in a more advanced role. Junna. Ola Rigby the only option to the left. Junna once more.
We saw Spasevski move himself into that more midfield position last week against Belconnen, and he actually created a fair bit. So I applaud him for getting himself forward, even 10 against 11. I think it's a smart move, and I think it could pay off for Tigers if he keeps at it.
Oida finds Kolbatelli. Greenwich. Kishta. Spreads it wide towards towards Lamb rather. Cobertaldo. Magic came in with a strong challenge. Finds Shields. Ryan Keir's toe, but a pull on the arm, according to Alex McConaughey. And Matt Gerbisher ran quite a long way to get up for a chat there. Needs to be careful here. The skipper having his say. Nathan Medjic over the ball on the halfway line. We're into the final 90 seconds of the first half here. Cobertaldo's goal the difference. Spiseski at the back. That's neither to Ola Rigby nor Juna, and here come Canberra, Croatia. But Barac.
Two players.
Chose the wrong option.
Two players, Kistis and Ugrinic, out here on the left in acres of space for us. Daniel Barrett is complaining about a foul there, so maybe we're giving him a bit of disservice. Maybe he was fouled.
Kitta, Ola Rigby, Shields. Keir in solid with a challenge, is broken for Kishta, and the whistle goes for a free kick to the Tigers. When Canberra, Croatia were looking sharp on the break. Shields is down as well. This is the last thing that Ryan Grogan would want. Joint leading goal scorer.
Yeah, I don't think Mark's too badly off there, Russ. I think he's probably just buying himself and the team a bit of time.
Tigers will end the half, you think, with possession. Got on Jozowski over the free kick.
Yeah, and if you think Shields is limping, he's no, that's just how he walks.
He's always limping. Spiseski, he's giving it away, and here's a chance for Canberra, Croatia to break in stoppage time with Barac. He's got Kishta ahead of him, who's made the run. Ugrinic is there as well. He's found Kishta. Tried to squeeze it through to Cobertaldo. Jozowski was in the way. Now Ferej. For Tigers, he's shown too much of it to Pavlak. Keir. Kishta. Ugrinic offside, looking across the line. That's an unforgivable one, really.
It is a little bit, isn't it? It's interesting though, Russ, you can see every time that Tigers lose the ball, they give up possession, then the quick break is on, and it's taking longer and longer for the Tigers midfield to get back and support their back four.
Well, Medjic over the free kick. We're at the mercy now of Alex McConaughey and how much he wants to add on. A couple of minutes for the red card, of course. Medjic will lift this up towards Pavlak. Matt Gerbish, you might be able to hear that, asking the question of how long we got left. Tigers still in it, in a big way, while they trail only 1-0, despite the numerical disadvantage. Shields chasing with Gerbisher. Twists away from the forward's challenge. Pavlak. Keir. Oida. No real rush for Canberra, Croatia to add to their tally. Gerbisher. Verkic. Sends it wide to Lamb. Kishta goes longer in his attacking passing with that one, and that'll do us to the end of the first half, Frank. In the first half, in which started off brightly with Daniel Cobertaldo's goal, and Tigers responded well to it, but the loss of Julian Borgner, of course, the big talking point, and it's left Ryan Grogan's team right up against it.
Absolutely, Russ. I think Tigers responded well after Cobertaldo scored one of his famous sort of shots from outside the box. It was a great strike, hitting top corner. They'd got themselves in a position where they were starting to threaten the Canberra Croatia goal. Obviously a bit of ill discipline there. Someone's reacted to a challenge or something that's been said, or whatever, and it's really let down the rest of the Tigers side. Having said that, they've responded so very well. There's a lot of pride in that side, but you can just sense that every time they do lose a ball, there's an opportunity for Canberra Croatia to hit them on the break. I think we'll see some extra goals in the second half.
Plenty of action to come here on Bar TV Sports. It's half-time in match 2 of the final series. Daniel Colbertaldo's specky early on, the difference between the two sides. At the break, it's Canberra Croatia 1, Tigers FC 0. We're back at Deakin Stadium for the second half of finals match 2. An eerie atmosphere here with a restricted crowd for final series. And at half-time, Canberra, Croatia lead. Daniel Colbertaldo's spectacular strike early on the difference. Tigers FC, though, will play the second 45 minutes with 10 men. Julian Borgner sent off in the first half. I'm Russ Gibbs. Joining me as he did in the first half, Frank Keisha. Frank, imperative that Tigers start this half well and that they don't concede early.
Yeah, they've got to keep themselves in the game for as long as they possibly can. It's a tall order for them. Obviously, they're playing, the team that's finished top of the table over the 7 games, and a team that's got a record of coming home with a wet sail as well, Russ. So, the longer they can stay in it and give themselves a bit of hope, the better for the Tigers.
As you were with Canberra, Croatia in the second half, and Tigers FC also with 10 of the 11 that started this finals match. Next week, Tigers play Belconnen here at 1:30. Canberra, Croatia play Gungahlin United at 3:45. And as we stand, they'll go into that match with a 2-point advantage over the Gungahlin and Belconnen. Unless, of course, something happens dramatically in this second 45 minutes. And judging by the football we've seen today here, we wouldn't put it past Tigers from digging something out of this one.
Yeah, but you're right, Russ. But just as likely to see Canberra, Croatia get 3 or 4 if the floodgates do open.
Kidder finds Farej. Tigers starting on the front foot, swings it in. Vrkic with the header clear. Kishta challenges with Jozefovski, who challenges in turn with Kier. Handball though against the experienced Tigers midfielder.
It's a charge down.
At the wrong venue for that, wasn't he? It's Colbertaldo. His goal is the difference.
But tireless, isn't he? I mean, for someone who's played in excess of 300 games, he just works and just keeps on working. He's a really good example to a number of the kids, that are gracing the NPL pitches nowadays. He's just tireless.
Kept himself in good shape as well. Goran Jozefovski. Here's Barac. Kishta. Looks for Jordan Lamb, but it's slightly overhit that one, and Jordan Lamb's given that one up. Didn't fancy the run after that one, the fullback.
Yeah, we just kept an eye on Mark Shields before half-time. He did seem to be limping a little bit, even though we were sort of making a bit of ingest some of the comments, but he seems to be moving freely again, which is good.
Pavlak's robbed Ola Rigby. Kishta in midfield. He's found Oida. Opens up briefly, and that's a good sliding challenge from Farej to slow down what would have been a shot at goal, I think. And he's brought it away here as well. Here's Farej. Shields ahead of him. Spaseski's made a burst from back, and he's going to get this. Tony Spaseski, not much in the box, and by that I mean nothing. So had to go on his own. Ryan Kier stopped the attack. That's where they struggled. No one up in the centre to get on the end of that. Here's Kishta. Colbertaldo. Ugrinic has gone early, and he's gone too early, and he's offside.
And that'll be frustrating for Colbertaldo, who played the ball into Ugrinic. Canberra, Croatia still haven't seemed to get out of second gear though, Russ. Spasevski's made a really good run there. Even with Niko Oida has just lost the ball at the edge of the box, the recovery isn't with the urgency that you've seen previously in throughout the year.
Something that perhaps can be levelled at the team's performances throughout 2020. They've played really well in patches, the home side. Oida bursting forward, cuts inside. Colbertaldo made the run. Oida elected to go alone. Kier in the middle of the park. Jordan Lamb. Kishta helps in on its way to Pavlak. Bursting forward, Pavlak, and he strikes one, goes, and that's a big shout for handball. Magic saying it hit him in the face. We still play on. Colbertaldo back to Oida, edge of the box. He's opened it up. Nico Oida, brilliant! Opened his body up, found the bottom corner. Super finish.
Yeah, great goal there from Nico Oida. He's been threatening that for a large proportion of the season, and even beginning of the second half, he's got himself into good positions. Probably a little bit disappointed with his first touch a couple of times just beginning of the second half, but that opportunity presented itself, and for Canberra, Croatia, I think it's a really important goal because you could just hear the frustration coming through, Russ. The one advantage that we do get without the crowd being here is the ability to hear the players. And you could hear Brown and Gilbert go at them, and I think that's a very important goal in this game.
Just as they did at the start of the first half, they've got an early one. And Canberra, Croatia now firmly in control of this, 2-0 up against 10 men. And also saved the discussion about whether or not that was a penalty against Nathan Medjic.
I think Medjic did all right to hold his face there. I'm pretty sure that hit his arm.
Yeah, there was a big shout, wasn't there? Academic at the end. And Nico Order's finish calm. Once he opened his body up, he never looked like missing, did he?
He's a really important...
We'll come back again. Here's Barac. Kobatalo was caught late there as well, off the ball. He's still down. And Pavlak's just punched that to stop the game.
Well, is it a yellow card?
It's deliberate handball, isn't it?
Well...
Didn't quite see what happened with Kobatalo once he laid the ball off, but... This next 10 minutes is important, though, for Tigers, although this could unravel very quickly.
Yeah, and this is what we were sort of speaking about. You know, the Tigers need to stay in the game for as long as they can. They can't let this get away from them now, and they can't let their discipline drop and end up with, half a side next week.
Medjic with the free kick for the Tigers.
But yeah, just back on Nico Uda. Russ, he's been such an important acquisition for Canberra, Croatia, but also just a very important addition to the whole competition. I think he's, he was playing a lot of under 21s at Sydney FC. He's a very elegant midfielder, and next year when the opportunity comes for Canberra teams to hopefully participate again in the FFA Cup, he'll be one of those players that if he does get the opportunity, he'll be one of those players that will be looked at. From clubs outside of Canberra.
Problems here at the back for Medjic. I'm hearing he's been looked at by clubs outside of Canberra already.
Oh, no doubt.
Rumours of a possible A-League trial coming his way. More news on that a bit later on, as and when it comes to light. Why wouldn't you? Got all the attributes that you're looking for.
He's a good athlete. He's got good size. He's obviously been recognised already for his ability to play for Sydney FC 21. So he was in that system, in that program. He reads the game really well. So yep, he's just about there, isn't he?
That was his third goal of the season as well. 3 and 7 for the midfielder. Elegant as well. As Frank said, possessing all the attributes. What he has done here is given his side the perfect start to the second half here. Lamb gets in. Ugrinic finds Uda. Ball forward to Lamb. He's got Colbertaldo inside of him. If he can find him in the penalty area. Might become academic, Frank, but goal difference in this finals tournament might prove vital as well. So...
Yeah, look, Russ, I guess the other thing is, and this is what I'm talking about with, if the game degenerates or Tigers start losing their bundle, they don't have much from the 23s to call up on.
Greenwich with the corner, swings it in, and Ryan Keir couldn't get a proper connection.
Yeah, they forfeited 23s last week. And we made the comment around the gap between first and 23s last week on the podcast, and this is what I'm talking about, is it's not really fair on players to just expect to come into first grade after playing 23s and make a difference.
Wonder if they're going to be able to fill the side tomorrow.
Yeah, well...
In the bottom 4 23s.
Well, you can't see any of these boys backing up.
You wouldn't think so, whether allowed to or not as well. Troubled times this for the Tigers. Hopefully they can turn it around. Ryan Grogan, the new coach there this year, of course. Kishta looks to push it through Medjic, one of their new acquisitions for this season. Kishta with a quick feet. Runs into Kidder. It's come for Lamb, who's tried his luck from distance, and why not? Jordan Lamb, that was a good effort.
It was a very good strike, wasn't it?
Sure, Cole was slightly worried. Giving it straight back to Jordan Lamb. The world's longest one too.
Yeah. he hit that as well as Jordan Lamb did. Look, I've always said that he's probably one of the most underrated players in the competition, Jordan Lamb. I've always thought he was one of the better players in that right back position. Big engine, gets forward.
Corbataldo tried to send it through for Barac. Spaseski was there. Should be a Tigers ball. 10 minutes in the second half. Nico Oida's calm finish has Canberra, Croatia in the box seat. 2-0 up. Can just stretch their unbeaten run to 13 matches, and you'd have to say, Frank, right about now, that's looking like a sure bet.
Yep, but you know the game is like, Ross. But yeah, look, I think Canberra, Croatia are well in control of this game.
If it was a full complement of the Tigers, you might think there may be a way back, but the man down is going to make it doubly hard. They won't give up for trying there. They've still got plenty of strike power on this park.
And it's like you said, Ross, if we're talking goal difference, then it's important for Tigers that they don't let this game get away from them either, because they want to have something to play for in the next two matches. You know, if they can regroup and get a win next week.
As Kidder tries one from long range. Yeah, 6 points will see them through.
Well, there's a lot of work to do before they get to 6 points, but they don't want to. Like, the last thing you want to do is go into that last game, knowing there's no hope. You know, or you've got to score a stupid amount of goals to give yourself a chance. And I think that's probably what, you know, faced Olympic last week to make the finals after the registration issue. And it becomes too much.
Ultimately, it's what did for Tuggeranong United as well.
Exactly right. Yeah, they lost their first couple of games with big results.
Missed out on goal difference. Here's Ola Rigby running at Gerbyshire, looking to find Shields in the penalty area. Chance for Shields on the turn, good hit, and he forces a save from Sam Brown.
Did really well there, Mark Shields, and Nola Ridgeby did well to pick him out. You just would have loved to seen Kitta sort of give Shields a call and have him leave that ball, because he was coming in far post, unmarked, and had a big opportunity there to maybe get a strike on goal. But good effort there from Tigers, good response.
There's a better build-up as well. Pavlak bursting forward, looking for Kolbatado outside him. Here's a chance for Canberra, Croatia. Barac has gone near post, and Juna positioned himself well in the centre. Concedes the corner.
It's really important when you are 10 against 11 that even with 10 players, you need to try to keep the ball as much as you can, Russ. You can't just keep on giving it away and just relying on those 10 to sit behind the ball and defend.
Kolbatado swings it in towards Oida, and Jacob Cole came to claim for the Tigers, and he's bowled it out to Magic, who's off on one of those runs we've seen so many times over the years. This time, though, the final ball to Ola Rigby, not quite there. Not on the same wavelength, those two at the moment. Verkic. Nice pick out for Kishta, who's got a bit of room in which to move, and he's got Pavlak on the overlap from the left back position. Swings it across. It's going to come all the way through to Ugrinic. Pulls it back to Kishta, lining one up. Good block, Kitta. Oida wins the header. Kitta's back in there challenging. It's going to come for Oida again, and he's lunging on Jozefowski. Got a bit of the ball. Ferej. Jozefowski can't get past Oida. Nice switch there from Kitta to Canavesio. Still got a bit of fight in him, Mariano Canavesio.
He's got Subasic and Nick Bobolas on the bench. He's got Matty Gilberto with the yellow card. He's got a 2-0 lead.
Barac pulling it into the middle. Did speak to Dean Ugrinic before kickoff. He did say we will see Nick Bobolas today at some stage. So I think where you're going with that is probably the right call. Kia wins the tackle. All ball, says the referee. Barac finds Kolbataldo. Jordan Lamb.
Ola Ridgeby's still down.
Jordan Lamb has gone through. That's a foul by Hus Ferej and a free kick for Canberra, Croatia. Jordan Lamb's asking about a potential card there. Meanwhile, Alex Olorugby is down. Martin Crome has his bib off, ready to come on. Maybe we're going to see a change here in any case by Ryan Grogan. Yeah, looks like changes on the Canberra Croatia bench as well.
Yeah, Olorugby is starting to look very tired anyway, I think, Russ.
Alex Olorugby getting a bit of treatment. We'll see if it's him that makes way. Martin Crome is going to come on. I think it probably will be Alex Olorugby. First change, Tigers FC. Martin Crome comes on for his 12th NPL appearance. Second of the season, both from the bench. Jordan Lamb recovered from his knockdown this side and is back on the halfway line. Jason Ugrinich over the free kick with the left foot. 5 red shirts in the penalty area.
Yeah, he'll be trying to swing this in. Looking for that, just a touch on, but at the same time trying to keep it on target, so if there isn't anything, there's still a question to be answered by Jacob Cole.
Ugrinich, left-footed, swings it towards the far post. Good one too, and it's picked out probably the smallest man on the park, Daniel Colbertaldo. If that had been a Kier or a Gerbischer, it may well have been 3.
Yeah, but having said that, Colbertaldo is very good in the air for someone his height. And Gerber says, no, he's not. It's Pavlak.
Pavlak off. Michael Pochi on for the left back. Ivan Pavlak, who announced his retirement to the squad this week. This will be his last season. Bit of the changing of the guard in the Canberra Croatia ranks.
And you might even see this at the end of the season with Tigers, Russ. You know, you've got both Shields and Josifovsky, who are, you know, probably 2 of their better players over the last few weeks, but they are on the other side of 30.
Handball against Magic, and he's going to pick up a yellow card here. That's his second of the season, his first of the final series. It'll be a free kick. I mean, is this too far out for Kishta to try his luck at 2-0?
Probably not too far to try his luck, probably too far to score, I'd say, but he looks confident. But
well, he's either going to dink it in or thunder it at goal. We're going to see very shortly. It is Kishta, and he has gone for goal. Enough elevation on the shot.
Like we said, it wasn't too far to try his luck.
We've got previous with Tigers, as we're all well aware. Spaseski at the back to Jacob Cole, shooting his eyes from that sun that's setting behind us, and it'll be an absolute pain for him for the final half an hour or so of this one. Ferej, Colbertaldo just too strong, wins the ball from the Tigers midfield man, finds Ryan Keir in an acre of space in midfield, languidly plays it to Kishta. Tries to step inside Kitta, and it's just a bit lazy in that attack.
It was, yeah, the ball from Ryan Keir to Kistas, you know, behind him, and quite casual. So
Crome, the first time we've seen the substitutes, penetrating run forward. Gerbischer just plays it off him for the goal kick. Less than half an hour to go. 2-0 here. Petering out slightly, isn't it, at the moment? Lamb plays it forward to Kishta. Nice ball that. Now, what's Kishta got in the locker? Well, not too much on that occasion. Overhit pass. Shakes his head. At the moment, Canberra Croatia, Frank, appear to be in cruise control.
And they have been for a little while, haven't they, Russ? I think even if Tigers lift their intensity and start knocking on the door, they just seem to have another gear to go to.
Flicked on by Crome. Verkic will tidy up. Sam Brown, who's had a save to make this half. Mark Shields' spinning effort 10 minutes ago. At 2-0 though, there's still a little glimmer of hope for Tigers if they could pull one back. But their goal drought continues.
I was about to ask, what are we up to now, Ross, within minutes?
Oh, my maths isn't that good, Frank. It was 250 up by half time, so about 280 odd. Here's Balatra on the break. bursting into the penalty area. Just forced wide by a combination of Canavesio and Spaseski. Still has it though, Barac. Colbertaldo. Good defending that by the Tigers duo.
Definitely a bit of a limp there from Colbertaldo. Key looks like the one making way. It's a Giampaolo.
So Dom Giampaolo on for his 7th appearance of the season for Ryan Keir. Well, if they keep up their record of giving penalties, Frank, we'll be able to answer your question that we had earlier on, if who's going to take it.
Maybe Colby will step up.
Maybe he will. Corner to Canberra, Croatia. There was that shout for a penalty, of course, before they scored.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting because Nathan Magic's picked up a yellow card subsequently for a handball.
Didn't hold his face that time. Offside. Maybe he should have done so.
Maybe.
So not a cloud in the sky here at Deakin Stadium.
There's a bit of wind around though, Ross.
There is a little bit. It's just picking up. Shadows, you can see myself and Frank on the shadows spreading out across the fields. Give us a wave there, Frank. We can probably see you. There we are.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Magic forced all the way back to Jacob Cole. It makes it difficult for the goalkeeper at that end, doesn't it, where Jacob Cole is with his son setting behind us.
Yeah, and I suppose Jacob is an ex-Canberra Croatia player, so he's probably used to it a little bit. He's played a number of seasons here.
Colbertaldo looks for Giampaolo. Spaseski beats him to it and then off on a run, but Godzich just steps in and can bring it in the opposite direction. I don't think Daniel Barac will thank him for that delivery.
Been impressed with Spaseski. He's for a young player, I know he's played a number of games and he's quite experienced, but he's really stood up and really made an effort. And speaking of someone who stood up, Josivosky making way now as a substitute. He's been outstanding, I think, for Tigers, and he's been outstanding for Tigers for a number of years. He's really just put his heart and soul on the line every game he plays for this club.
We talk about changing the guard. This is young Marcus Godzich that's coming on for Tigers FC, his 3rd appearance for the club. All of them from the bench. Diminutive in stature in the middle of the park. Spaseski at the back, taking a little bit of a risk here. Gets himself out of it nicely though. Here's Junna.
Thought it nearly gave him the commentator's curse there, didn't I?
It's easily done.
It's not the commentator's fault though, is it, Russ? It's
never is.
It's the player's fault.
We've never missed anything from up here. Giampaolo finds Kishta. Kita smacks it forward and Goodbish is there. It's a bit of a lonely furrow for Mark Shields at the moment. 23 minutes to play. And Colbertaldo's lost out here to Farej. Chrome. Kita. Canavesio. Better from the Tigers. Good move this. Can they find an end product? Canavesio's ball in and Brown came. Couldn't quite get there. But just too high for Farej. Alfred Shields, in fact.
Yeah, they've toiled away, haven't they, Russ? Canberra Croatia really haven't, made the most of that one-man advantage over the course of the game. They've been well in control, but they haven't really, put them to bed as far as just killing them right off. Maybe credit to Tigers for the work they've done.
Lamb, Giampaolo, cluttered and clustered in defence, couldn't quite get through the 3 Tigers players that were there. Magic, Godzich, Farej, Kita always taking his eye off the ball, and it's been picked up by Kishta. And he takes on Magic, who's on a card, of course. It'll be a last warning for Nathan Magic.
You'd want to be a bit careful there, Nathan.
But we saw Kishta try one. He's gone short this time. Oh, he's let him get away with it as well. That was miles away from where the free kick was, wasn't it?
Well, how many times do you see that get called back, Russ?
Well, I felt for certain the whistle was going to go. Nearly all the time. Kishta. Oida tries one from further out, bends one, and he's found the bottom corner again. A languid finish from Nico Oida, but it's a beautifully placed shot, and he has his second. Canberra Croatia have their third, and they're pretty much home and hosed.
Yeah, and this could be a very long 20-odd minutes here for Tigers, Russ. Jacob Cole won't be happy with that, but again, Nico Oida, we spoke about him during the first half. Probably my pick for player of the season, and he's come up with a double when Canberra Croatia just seemed to be going through the motions. He's just popped up twice and put his quality on the game.
Placed to perfection, almost apologetically into the bottom corner, and Jacob Cole beaten from distance. And Tigers FC need to grab a hold of this, otherwise it could get messy for them. Pochi. Oida on a hat-trick, like Bernardo Madrid. Wins a tackle against Godzich. Jordan Lamb. Verkic. I'll tell you what, if they get a penalty now, I think it might be Oida that steps forward.
Maybe.
Here he is, on the treble. Chance for Pochi to run at the defence. He's found Barac inside the penalty area. They're queuing up here. They pull it back for Kishta. Last gasp defending from Canavesio. Gianpaolo. Colbertaldo. Pochi finds his way to Barac. Pochi again.
And again, Russ, all the Canberra Croatia goals have come from midfielders.
Gianpaolo. Well, they'd argue they're not playing with a recognised striker. Not down the middle by any stretch of the imagination, anyway.
And that's something that we spoke about at the beginning, Russ. What opposition sides do with their two centre backs. We've seen Spasevski get forward and launch himself into midfield, and here comes Nick Bobolas. What it looks.
Yeah, last changed. Marko Verkic off in a Canberra Croatia debut, a belated Canberra Croatia debut for Nick Bobolas. 113th NPL appearance, 112 of those in the blue of Olympic.
I reckon I would have been in charge for most of those too, Ross.
Well, it's the first time we've seen him in red.
We did see him in red once, playing for Canberra, well, Deakin it was back then, when they were playing Sydney FC, and Andy Burnell pulled up a couple of players.
That's true.
From Olympic. Gave me a call, and we drafted in Cal Smith and Nick Bobolas.
Barac finds Gianpaolo.
Amongst others, I think.
It's that cunning plan many years ago for Canberra Croatia to get him in the team.
Yeah, 6 years later it worked.
Definitely the long game. Well, he's going to have 20-odd minutes to maybe stake his starting claim for the match next week here against Gungahlin United.
Well, the interesting thing is they left Gerbisser on. He's on a yellow.
Needs the minutes, maybe.
Oh.
Well, they're trusting his experience to see him through. Lamb finds Colbertaldo. Oida. Switch of direction to Barac. Pochi up from fullback. And he's won his team a corner. So if Nico Oida's on a hat-trick, you'd have got really long odds at the start of the season on two hat-tricks from Canberra Croatia players from Nico Oida and Emilio Kishta.
Probably Kishta more than Oida. But
he's still got to get one, of course.
He's still got to get one. And, I mean, to be honest, I thought Felipe was almost nailed on when he got one-on-one with Thurtell at the back end of that first game.
Yeah, the left-footed hit.
Yep. It would have been really harsh on Belconnen if they didn't get anything out of that game, because I thought they were definitely good value for at least a point.
And they got a point apiece. 2-2 draw in that one earlier on. Canberra Croatia on the way to 3 here, which will put them at the top of the 14 pile with 2 rounds to play.
So what does this mean, Ross, I guess, going forward?
Well, it means a win next week for Canberra Croatia would almost certainly put them in the final, ahead of their game against Belconnen United, which would then leave Belconnen against Canberra Croatia. It'll be interesting to see what happens then in terms of team selection for...
It's interesting, isn't it?
Didn't Greenwich?
You wouldn't think, like, you look at this and you think, well, Canberra Croatia are almost nailed on to finish top 2 in these top 4, but they've still got to get over Gungahlin and Belconnen. Both sides now with a point on the board. If they both win their last 2 games, they end up with 6, which means that Canberra Croatia would... they'd end up with, what, 7?
Croatia?
No, if Gungahlin and Belconnen both win their last 2 games...
That means Canberra Croatia can't win either of theirs.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's not done by any stretch of imagination, but they're giving themselves a really good platform on which to build. Kishta looking to extend it with a long-range effort, and it's just wide of goal. It was bending away all the time. Jacob Cole had it covered all the way.
Wasn't a bad strike, though. Another young Mark Shields coming off. And it's interesting, I mean, those last 2 substitutions we were talking about, Shields and Josifowski, is this a potential changing of the guard?
You wonder how much Ryan Grogan is taking from this and looking ahead to next week and arresting some of his players, thinking, well, this one's done.
Well, the interesting thing is, as well, Russ, is Gabe Cole and Lawrence Redmond have both been sort of mainstays of that back 4 throughout the season, and they're unused substitutions today. Yeah,
this is a Tigers NPL debut for Daniel Grove. He's been on the bench a couple of times this season, hasn't seen any action. This is the first time he's taken to the field. Just wondered, as I said, how much planning there is for next week here in Ryan Grogan's moves. Does he change it up next week? Does he bring Cole back? Does he bring Redmond back? You can find out. You watch it all here, live on Bar TV Sports. Belconnen United will be looking at this thinking, well, if we can win next week, 4 points against Tigers, and sit back happy and watch Canberra Croatia and Gungahlin going at it. Here's Martin Crome, and Nick Bobolis' first involvement is tidy, as you'd expect.
Yeah, look, he was one of the mainstays for us at Olympic. Nick Bobolis, obviously we had a pretty good defensive record there at Olympic, and he was, a very big reason behind that.
Kishta, Oida, clips it forward towards Barac. Just going to run away from the striker. Just a reminder that next week you can watch all the action here on Bar TV Sports. Belconnen United versus Tigers FC at this venue at 1:30, followed by Canberra Croatia versus Gungahlin United at 3:45. Tomorrow, live from the Riverside, 1:30, Canberra Olympic against Woden Western, Tuggeranong versus Monaro at 3:45. Next week at the Riverside, Woden versus Monaro at 1:30, Tuggeranong v Canberra Olympic at 3:45. You can watch every minute of the finals football on Bar TV Sports. Back to back, back to back. No excuses, Frank. Well, probably plenty, but...
Depends who you ask, Russ.
Who wants to do the gardening anyway, hey? Brown under pressure. It can wait till the end of the season. Lamb finds Oida. Kishta. Barac. Pochi outside. 3 in the box to aim for. Kishta. Barac. Kishta. And Magic with the last gasp tackle. And then takes a sweep at Barac. And again, needs to be careful here. Last thing they want is Magic to be suspended for next week as well.
And he's worked pretty hard, Nathan Magic, and his old mate there, Daniel Barrett, are very close off the field, those two. As is the case with a lot of players here in Canberra, they're good friends off the field, even though they play for different clubs. But he's got to be careful, and he doesn't want to lose. Doesn't want to. Ryan. The last thing Ryan would want to do is lose Nathan Magic through suspension for next week.
Dom Gianpaolo over the free kick, the substitute. Might fancy his luck here.
I don't mind Nick Bobolis at the back post here, or Nick would do.
Is Gianpaolo over the ball, goes for goal, hits the wall. Bit of a poem there, Frank.
been a long day, Russ.
It's only week 1 as well.
I know.
Here's Gianpaolo. Barach battling for possession. Oida. Colbertaldo. Godzich. Pocci. Kishta. Bit of keep ball from Canberra, Croatia, looking for an opening. Kishta couldn't squeeze it through the gap that wasn't there. Spaseski can't either. Colbertaldo, lofted ball to Ugrinic, brings it down. He's got the runners of Barach and Lamb. Here is Barach, pulls it back. Ugrinic is there. There's loads on the edge of the box. Jordan Lamb elects to shoot. And Juna can put the hammer down and have a run for Tigers. Colbertaldo chasing back. Furesh. Daniel Grove wants it backwards. Spaseski. Clip ball out for Canavesio, but I think he's overhit that one.
Yeah, he put it behind him and didn't hit it anywhere near like he wanted to. Good defending, Nick Boblis, just to delay that attack there from Tigers.
10 minutes to go.
Yeah. As soon as they start playing the ball backwards, they've just lost all momentum there.
Ugrinic. Canberra, Croatia twist the screw in even further. Good ball, and he's found Lamb, and there's loads of space here for Jordan Lamb, lining it up, and he's fired it against the base of the post. It's come out for Kishta. Danger still not averted. Dances into the area, but the ball is out of play. What a chance for Lamb.
Yeah, but what a wonderful little reverse pass there from Jason Ugrinic. Probably took out 3 or 4 Tigers defenders with that one pass. Lamb composed himself, waited to see if Jacob Cole was going to make a move. Finally hit it. Did everything right except put it in the back of the net. He's hit the base of the post, and Tigers survive 3-0.
Canavesio looks for Chrome into the penalty area. That's too far for Jordan Lamb. Colbertaldo was back to help out his defensive partner. Sam Brown wouldn't have been thankful for that pass, but they've worked it nicely. And Lamb finds Ugrinic. Always seems to be a red shirt, as you'd expect, playing with a man advantage. Nicely worked again, and Oida swings it right wide for Pocci. Lots of room to run into, but can't get it past Canavesio. Chrome. That's a bit short for Canavesio as well, but he's got there ahead of Godzich. Furej. Firm challenge at Bobulus. Bit messy at the moment. Magic shielding his eyes from the sun, looking for an option ahead of him, and Tigers just can't get hold of the ball. More than 1 or 2 passes at a time, and they might get caught in the break here. It's 3 against 2 if Barach plays this rightly. Goes cross fields, and that's just too close to Jacob Cole. Lamb can bring it forward. Gianpaolo peels away. Give himself too much of an angle to run at that, and Daniel Grove comes across. Seven and a half minutes to go. Looks like there's definite 3 points for Canberra, Croatia, barring some sort of miracle for the Tigers. Oida finds Kishta. Ball spun wide. And again, it's too close to Cole. Just petering out a little bit here, Frank.
It is a little bit, isn't it, Russ? I was just thinking, the young guy that's come on now at the ball for Tigers, obviously difficult coming on 3-0 down as opposed to someone experienced like Nick Bobulus who's coming on at 3-0 up. You know, the time and space that either one of them has, you know, it's not really fair, is it? You know, Nick can ease his way into the game. He'll get time and space, and you know, every time the young guy from Tigers gets it, he's under pressure.
Sliding tackle from Chrome, wins the ball. Furej hits it from distance. There's a collision between Godzich and Chrome off the ball as well, wasn't there?
Absolutely.
Juna goes back to Grove.
And he's still getting up, Martin Chrome.
Switch there to Canavesio. Nice ball, that. He's run into Pochi. He's still trying to win it on the floor, the Argentinian. He's put in a good shift today. So that gives away the free kick. Looked the most likely in the first half for the Tigers, didn't he?
He did. Just interesting that last challenge there from Chrome. He looked like he came in almost 2 foot on Nico Order, and then the afters there was interesting.
Well, Canberra, Croatia finished top of the pile. They're going to be top of the pile after round 1 of finals as well. 2 points ahead of Belconnen and Gungahlin United. Ahead of round 2 next week. We'll all convene back here again.
And that's going to be a big challenge. Obviously, playing Gungahlin, who need to get a result, and will be looking for a reaction after 4 games now without a win. So
yeah, not the kind of form we expected them to be in.
Exactly right. And it's not as if Canberra, Croatia have been outstanding today either. They've been really effective, and they've got themselves a really good result. And no one's going to knock someone winning 3-0. But
Spaseski wants a free kick, not going to get it.
But we've seen these guys play a lot better this season.
Yeah, still yet to put a full 90-minute performance in Dean Grinich's side, and they keep on winning. And this is the time of the game they love to score goals, of course. Kishta pulls it back to Barac. Can he add his name to the score sheet? Not on that occasion. Kitta in with a good challenge, but Barac battling back to win it, but does concede the free kick. Did mention there, do like a late goal.
Or 2.
Or 2, or 3. Chrome, who's looked lively since he's come on, been busy in the final third, without really testing Sam Brown. So questions for Ryan Grogan to answer next week. Jared Tonini might be back in action. Sam Whittier probably will be. Rocco Stricker's broken wrist is probably going to see him out for the season. They're going to be without Julian Borgner suspended as well, so he's going to need to make some changes. That's a free kick for the Tigers. And credit to the Kuma side. They are throwing some men forward here, trying to get themselves a goal.
Whole pitch is basically in shadow now, Ross.
Yeah, the sun going down on round 1 of finals football. Free kick, which Magic whips into the near post. Sam Brown, though, was always favourites.
And Magic's really the most likely to win the header for Tigers as well. So, you can't do it at both ends. You can't be taking the free kick and scoring the headers. So, on the basis of that delivery, you'd probably want someone else to be taking it and getting him in the box.
Gerber at the back. Solid game from him. Colbertaldo has been his usual sparkling self in the middle of the park, floating around. Ugrinich to Gianpaolo. Oider. Gianpaolo. Left just a little behind Ugrinich. Jacob Cole beaten 3 times this afternoon, and not a lot he could have done about any of them. Oider picks up the loose ball. Kishta tries to help it round the corner. Oider almost got away from Grove. Would have been clean through on goal, but for the header from the young substitutes. Chrome. Canavesio. Magic. And Canavesio forward, but that's picked off by Pochi. Loose ball towards Colbertaldo, which Godzich has. Now here's Christian Junna. Chrome's made the run down the right flank, but that's way too far for Martin Chrome to chase. Based on what you've seen then, Frank, in the first 2 matches of this final series, who do you think is going to be lining up in the grand final in a couple of weeks' time? It's a difficult one to say, but...
When we were asked that question on the podcast on Monday, I said Canberra, Croatia and Gungahlin. Now, based on what I saw today, I think Belconnen with a huge shout to finish in that top 2. I've got to stick to my guns and say, they're the two sides that I still think will probably make it. But that's not a reflection of Belconnen. That's just basically I'm just sort of backing up what I said beginning of the week, I don't think it's probably fair to jump off and jump on another bandwagon. So next week is enormous for both Gungahlin and Belconnen. Belconnen probably in the box seat and probably will start that game favourites against Cooma or Tigers, whereas I think Gungahlin will probably start as the outsiders against Canberra, Croatia. So Gungahlin have to find something, Russ, to get themselves a point or three, but they're capable of doing it. Having said that, Belconnen, on the basis of today's performance, are very much in the box seat to end up at the end of next week with 4 points.
Good run this from Spaseski. Farej onside. Can he reduce the deficit? Hussein Farej, the deflection, takes it onto the bar. Just about sums up Tigers' day.
Did really well there, and again, we've seen Spaseski get forward, Russ, and create something. Like, it's another string to his bow, and I think he's becoming one of the better players now, coming out of defence in the competition.
Maybe they'll put him further forward into a more attacking role. He's looked good in that position.
Well, you could play him at a defensive mid and bring Lawrence Redmond back into centre back or something like that. You could say the same thing about Magic. They're both capable.
Swung in right under the crossbar. Sam Brown takes it into stoppage time at the end of 90 minutes. Gianpaolo brings it away for Canberra, Croatia, and looks for Jason Ugrinich, who's got the whole of Deakin Stadium here almost to himself. Balac in support. Gianpaolo arriving in the middle. He couldn't get it into the area. Ugrinich, disappointing end to that build-up. Chrome goes back to Magic. Under pressure from Ugrinich.
And importantly for Canberra, Croatia next week, they don't want to be dropping points to Gungahlin and facing Belconnen the week after, especially Belconnen are on 4.
It's intriguing, isn't it? Because the results next week are going to have a huge bearing on what happens, of course. The advantage for Belconnen is if they can get their win against the Tigers, they will go into the Canberra-Croatia Gungahlin game watching it, knowing that their 4 points means their destiny is pretty much in their own hands.
Correct.
Heading into the final round. And should Canberra-Croatia get past Gungahlin United, then Gungahlin, we may be faced with that goal difference scenario when Gungahlin play Tigers in the final game. The staggered kickoffs, though, mean that they'll know what they've got to do.
And it might not be a bad thing to play Tigers in the last game, depending on what sort of troops they've got left.
Might be able to pick themselves up, the Tigers, for next week, but they're still without a goal.
And they've got to, because, I mean, there's a lot of people that put a lot of time and effort and resources into this club, and you want to see that rewarded.
Lamb, Cole came a long way out to collect and did well. Alex McConaughey looks at his watch. Can't imagine he'd be adding too much on. Spaseski with the throw. He's playing in a more advanced role this time. Farej. Copataldo back to help out, but Farej gets away from him. Godzich runs into Oider, who wins the free kick. Slight mismatch in size there. Here's Kishta.
Now, Russ, do we know if 2 yellows is a suspension in the final series, or?
I'm not sure. I'm sure it would be. Normally is, isn't it?
So there's a couple of players here.
Well, there's a chance for the Tigers. Here's Chrome. Kitter up with him, but they've wasted that one. We'll find out for you the answer to that question. Lamb. Gianpaolo steps away from Grove, who stays with him doggedly. Ugrinich. Lamb made the run, but Grove gets the touch, and that's come off of Gianpaolo, and that might do us. Alex McConaughey has another glance at the watch out of shots. Finding some time to add on here. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the doubleheader at the Riverside, the bottom 4 championship final series. Chrome. Chance for the Tigers to end on a high. Forced Farej backwards somewhat. Chrome again. Copataldo's there. Now Kishta. Gianpaolo's got a lot of space this side in the pass. Got a nick before it got to Jason Ugrinich. Questions for Dean Ugrinich as well about who he picks next week from a full squad of fit players now. Nikos Kalfas expected to make a return also. Enviable position to be in, Frank.
Yeah, but he's obviously got a bit of a headache there, I think. But it's a good headache to have. You know, you got good players coming back and available. It's the right time of the season to have those resources available to you, Russ.
Greenwich trying to pick his way through the defence deep into stoppage time.
You'd much rather be in a position where you can call on players and deciding who to leave out as opposed to who to actually put in.
Corner kick to Canberra, Croatia. This is possibly the last chance of the evening. As the sun sets behind us, Dom Gianpaolo lines up the corner.
We've just been notified that it's no...
There's the header, and it's a free kick.
No accumulation of cards in the finals, Russ.
Well, that's interesting, because that means you can pick up 4 in a row and or 3 in a row and play in a grand final. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Here is the story of today. It's 3 points for Canberra, Croatia. It's a comfortable 3 points in the end, Frank, and one that they've been in control of from the start.
Yeah, and Ross, that's the season sort of wrapped up, isn't it? As far as in one afternoon, you've got Canberra, Croatia sitting at the top of the pile. You got Gungahlin and Belconnen probably the next best, and then there's a bit of a gap between the top 3 and Tigers right at the moment. Full credit to Tigers for actually, conducting themselves the way they did after the send-off and staying in the game for as long as they did and the work that they've done. But Canberra, Croatia, for me, were always in control of that game and hardly ever got out of second gear.
After Daniel Colbertado gave them the lead inside the 4 minutes, and then the send-off for Julian Borgner really swung the cards in favour of the home side. A brace from Nico Oider late in the second half means that Canberra, Croatia start the final series as they ended the League Championship Series top of the pile. We'll be back tomorrow at the Riverside Stadium from 1:30 for the bottom 4 final series, and we're back again next week here at Deakin Stadium for top 4 final series, all live and exclusive on Bar TV Sports. The final score here at Deakin Stadium: Canberra, Croatia 3, Tigers FC 0.